Hello, in this video I'm going to review the book A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. And the reason I want to do that is because there are many spiritual teachers and self-help teachers out there, and there's a lot of material out there, and when you want to awaken and improve your personality or improve your life, then it's a big investment to, let's say, try one particular spiritual teacher and see that after you've made all that investment, if it's going to work for you or not, right? So with the investment, I am not talking about the price of a book, but I'm talking about the hours and hours that you're going to spend reading it, and then listen to audios, listen to conferences. So it takes maybe years to understand the philosophy of one particular spiritual teacher. So it might be a bit disappointing if you have invested all that time and then at the end of it you realize that, okay, this is not working for me, or it didn't do it for me. So with A New Earth, A New Earth is a long book, and Eckhart has two main books. One is The Power of Now, and then this is the other book, A New Earth. He has other material, but those are children's book or practice books, comic books, and so forth. A New Earth has two parts. The first part of it really should have been two books, but it's one book. The first part is about the ego, and he explains what the ego is and the problems of the ego. When you read the book, it gets a bit tiring because you're constantly hearing him talk about all these things that are wrong. This is wrong. If you do this, then it's your ego here. If you do that, that's also ego. Even if you are a wonderful doctor that goes around, helps people, that's still your ego. So he's just saying everything is ego and everything is bad, and so forth. Okay. That's still fine, because at least with the first part of the book, he's able to explain, he's able to help you identify when your ego interferes with life, when you have egoic behavior. And without reading this book, it is possible that you might not realize certain things are egoic behavior. Something like feeling inferior to other people, that is egoic behavior. You might have not known that before you read this book. So it is definitely helpful in those terms. In terms of understanding the problems of thinking, it is a good book in that sense. But the problem with the book, or the weakness of the book, is the second part of the book. So in the first part, he explains all the issues with the ego and how to identify ego and see what ego is. And then the second part of the book is about his philosophy. Okay, so Yes, sir, there are all these problems with the mind. Now, what do you suggest? What is the action plan? And here is the part I have a problem with his material, because he basically says that, oh well, we are the consciousness of the universe. And that's really vague stuff. Really? I mean, our purpose is to be the consciousness of the universe. What does that mean? And the second part of the book is supposedly the part where you're gonna want to know, well, okay, all these things are wrong with your ego and all these things are wrong with thinking, and I want to be present. Now, how do I do that? What is your philosophy? What are those tools that you're gonna give me to achieve these things? And I have found that his philosophy is very vague, because he says that, okay, we have an inner purpose and an outer purpose. And again, outer purpose are the forms, which of course are not permanent and are problematic. And he spends a lot of time again explaining all these problems. All the outer part is problematic. Okay, sir, yes, we get your point. Now tell us about this wonderful inner part, and how to connect with it, and how to work with it, and how to develop it, our connection with it. And he just says that our inner purpose is to awaken. And what does that mean? I can understand when he says that, okay, we need to be in our in our daily activity, to be a bit more present, to think less, to appreciate life in simple activities, you know, I don't know, eating meditation, walking meditation, be intensely present. That's okay, and that's gonna improve your happiness. But that's it? Is there anything more to it? What do you mean? How do you connect your inner purpose with your outer purpose? He is very vague about how do you do that. And what does it mean to awake? Just, you're walking from one side of the room to another, you have to be more present, and that's it? That's awakening? Sorry, I do that once in a while. I try to be very present washing the dishes, but that doesn't awaken me. That hasn't solved my life problems. And then he talks about how our purpose is to be the consciousness of the universe. To be the consciousness of the universe. Or to bring consciousness into this universe. But what the hell does that mean? Okay, so maybe he's trying to say that you need to be more in touch with your consciousness, that comes before thinking, and to be that as much as possible. Okay, so I get that idea a little bit. But how? You know, how can you be more in touch with your consciousness? He doesn't seem to give tools how to be consciousness. And then he seems to be very vague or not very helpful in saying how you are going to reconciliate daily life responsibilities, paying bills, finding work, with this thing of connecting with your consciousness. I mean, I try to not think and regain that feeling I had as a child, maybe that pure feeling before the thoughts. And I can do that, maybe 5 minutes a day, once in a while, taking a conscious breath like he mentions. But then, again, I have to go back into my daily day routine of trying to pay my bills and trying to keep up a job and commute to work and put up with co-workers and people talking at work and screaming at work. And I cannot be connecting with that feeling of consciousness while I'm doing that at work. And you can't be meditating at work. Hey people, stop talking and wait, I'm gonna spend 10 minutes meditating at work. And sorry, but the second part of the book doesn't work for me. He's just too vague in his philosophy. He gives a very bad example, which is his own example. He says that he was on his path to become a tenure, one of those academics, that particularly in the US they exist, which is these people that they've got a PhD and then they're gonna live very, very well on campuses, being teachers, having 3 months vacation every year, and that, And he, apparently Eckhart decided that wasn't for him, and then he says, oh, okay, I just felt like going from England to Vancouver, and he basically just followed his impulses, and he's saying, oh look, it worked out for me. I became a successful spiritual teacher and writer. But it's like, okay, is your philosophy that we need to follow more our impulses? I don't think that's a very good idea, because it worked out for you, okay? But following your impulses might not be such a good idea, does not always work out very nicely for other people, it can be a dangerous thing, because your impulses, what do impulses, what are impulses? You're not going to have an impulse that's going to say, oh, go work until 7 p.m. and then from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. go take a class, a programming class, and then barely have time for dinner and then go to sleep, and then next day start your life routine again at 7 a.m. and go to work. You're not going to have an impulse like that. Impulses are more like okay, do something fun. Oh, this is not feeling right. Now, Eckhart doesn't use the word impulses, and he doesn't use the word passion. But he's saying, feel what's right for you. But what does he mean, feel what's right for you? He's saying, oh, it wasn't feeling right for me in England, and I just felt like traveling around the world and going to the other corner of the world because it just wasn't feeling completely right. Well, Eckhart is smart enough not to use the word impulses and not use the word passion. You know, in Buddhism they wouldn't use these terms, passion and impulse. Those are not good things to say, to use. But really, then what is it? You weren't feeling this was for you. You may not call it using your impulses or following your impulses or your passion, but really that's what it is. You may not want to use those words, but the message that comes through is that you're going to be more aligned with the inner purpose, our united inner purpose, by doing more of what feels right to you. But that doesn't sound like a very good philosophy. I mean, what if all of us wanted to do what feels good for us? Oh, okay, we all want to be artists, we all want to be painters, we all want to write books, we all want to be on TV, make movies, and who's gonna do programming, and who's gonna be a janitor, you know, all these things that we need done in this life that are not so cool and not so fun. If we are all just going to go towards what feels right for us, we feel good about, then, you know, no one's going to want to do the hard part, the hard things, the hard jobs. Sure, there are some people who are doctors. They want to go to Africa and do great things. That's wonderful, but not everyone's going to be a doctor. You know, being a doctor is going to take many years of college, and not everyone has the economic resources to do that. Not everyone has the brain wiring to be a doctor, you know. So that's not going to work out for everyone, and so with A New Earth, I have a problem with the second part of the book, the part where he needs to show us really the positive stuff, not just what's wrong with the world, but what is his solution for it. His solution is vague and weak.